there's an article up on Sportsnet right now about the restricted free agents of Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, and Jacob Trouba, who were unsigned. Now, apparently Jacob Trouba's agent and Trouba himself view him as a top pairing defenseman. Kevin Cheveldayoff does not. So there's going to be a large gap in terms of term and average salary. He's already given Scheifele big money. And he's already got Myers on the blue line getting big money. He's got Byfuglien getting big money. And while I normally wouldn't have a problem calling Winnipeg cheap, in this case, I do. They're not being cheap here, they're being smart. The players in the NHL get whatever they want now. There used to be a time where GMs would sit down and go, okay, this guy's asking price is ridiculous. The asking prices of most of these guys are ridiculous. So we are going to not pay the ridiculous fee. Somewhere along the way, the salary cap, instead of being a cap, is where you go. Like, the salary cap was designed to keep teams like the Rangers, the Leafs, and Detroit from buying a Stanley Cup. And instead, it's become, well, we have $6 million in cap room, so we'll give this guy $6 million. Mike Holmgren once said in Philly that his biggest fear with cap space was that nobody would take it. That's why Philly's had nothing but cap problems since Holmgren was there. They still have cap problems. And there is a mentality of giving people whatever they want. How do I see Jacob Trouba? Well, when the Bruins were rumored to be in on Trouba and willing to throw everything in the kitchen sink at him, I was actually kind of pissed off. He's had 3 years in the NHL, and he looks like a top 4 defenseman, not a top 2. He doesn't look particularly offensively dynamic. He looks average offensively. Defensively, he may be very good and might be a big hitter, but he's not a top pairing defenseman. And if he's asking for, say, $6+ million, he's not worth $6+ million. Calgary's in a worse spot. Calgary's got Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau, and what Sportsnet asks is, are these guys first liners? My answer is Johnny Gaudreau is absolutely a first liner. Sean Monahan, I don't know. Johnny Gaudreau is exciting, dynamic, and consistent. They mentioned how Gaudreau's point totals on the road were low. Like, he only had, I think, 22 points they set on the road out of his 70-some points. Fine, that's fair. But it's not unusual for young players to struggle on the road because you don't get last change, so you don't get the matchups you want. Getting a matchup against a line that he can probably take advantage of, he's going to be playing against all the best defensive players. There isn't a veteran presence in Calgary to take that pressure off Gaudreau. So that's just what's going to happen. The problem is, because Gaudreau and Monahan are both restricted free agents at the same time, one's going to watch what the other gets, both in terms of term and money. Look at Taves and Kane in Chicago. That's how they got the same contract. And Gaudreau, I mean, if Everly's worth $6 million and Nugent Hopkins is worth $6 million, then Gaudreau's worth $7 million. That's just simple math. Because there's been inflation since those contracts were signed too. Gaudreau has to be worth $7 million. So then Monahan is going to want $7 million. Calgary's up a creek here, because if Calgary, if Brad Treliving plays hardball, if the shark that is his father comes out in him and he decides, you know what, I'm not giving you what you want, he's left without a first line. He's left with a Calgary Flames team that really needs to get back to the playoffs, unable to get back to the playoffs. Because without Gaudreau and Monahan, they're dead in the water. They have no chance. None. In terms of the Gaudreau-Monahan comparisons, Gaudreau's the better player, but Monahan has that two-way game, and the Flames can't afford to lose either of them, much less both. Now, if Monahan was on the market, if Brad Treliving says, "All right, I can't come to terms with Monahan, and I need somebody in that slot," that's where teams like the Bruins show up. Maybe Carolina shows up. Somebody who says, "You know what? Either we have fragile centers or we need help at center, one or the other." And Boston with Krejci's ongoing injuries that happen at freak times, they would definitely enjoy having a Monahan in the lineup, and probably they'd make Calgary take the Krejci contract if, all things were equal. And certainly if Krejci was healthy, that's a really good trade for Calgary. But Krejci being healthy is no guarantee, and 4 years down the road, Monahan is still in the league, and Krejci's probably out of it. So what Treliving does with Monahan and Gaudreau is going to affect the rest of the decade for this team. Calgary needs to get back to the playoffs because they fixed their goaltending. Their numbers last year were really good, which is weird because the year before they made the playoffs, even though their puck possession numbers were garbage. Last year, everything that they did seemed to be good, except their goaltending was terrible. So, what do? I got a funny feeling that Treliving at the end of the day is going to have to knuckle under and give them what they want. I think this could drag into the preseason. If this was going to get done, I mean, it's August 14th right now. If it was going to get done easy, it would have got done in July. Another thing I was reading, and I'll touch on this briefly, Colorado coaching candidates. They didn't mention Luke Richardson in the list of coaching candidates. Luke Richardson, to me, is a guy who's deserved to be a head coach in the NHL for a while. I was really surprised Ottawa went with Guy Boucher instead of him. I'm not slamming Guy Boucher at all, but Luke Richardson really paid his dues in Ottawa's system, and he has coached their farm team to some really, really strong finishes. And I really would like to see him get a head coaching job somewhere. So he's the guy that I would hope Colorado would look at, but they mentioned Bob Hartley, and I knew that name was going to come up. I thought, oh shit, they're going to mention Hartley. Hartley got fired by Calgary. They're going to mention for the Colorado job. And right away it's like, oh, well, they won a cup with him in 2001. Yeah, that was 15 years ago. And Hartley is not going to be able to coach the way he did. And then the funny part was they said, well, if they want a hard-nosed coach like Patrick Roy, Mike Keenan, but that's a long shot. Yeah, Keenan's never going to coach in the NHL again. And I know Keenan's kind of softened up and he's coached overseas and he's a nice guy. I don't have a problem with Mike Keenan. And as an analyst, as an analyst, he was actually pretty entertaining. But he's not a head coach in the NHL anymore. I would honestly think that Mike Keenan, if he had a little more pizzazz to him, he could replace Don Cherry with Coach's Corner when Cherry's ready to move on. Although the obvious choice to replace him would be John Tortorella. You could replace him with Tortorella now, and I guarantee your ratings for Hockey Night in Canada are going to go up just for that segment. It's going to be Torts is coming on. Hey, so you have Tortorella, and then you move Ron McLean out, and you have Larry Brooks sitting next to him, and you just let him go. They'd never get through a segment. Well, once again, we haven't discussed the actual players or the actual game, and Tortorella's walked out. Appears he's picking up a baseball bat, so that's all the time I have for tonight. But all kidding aside, Hartley wouldn't be good for Colorado. I mean, they already had Sacco, who I thought was a decent coach, and he couldn't get them back to the playoffs. Keenan would be terrible. It's tough because there aren't a lot of really good coaching candidates out there. I think they either look to one of the assistants in Denver or you look in the farm. There's a lot of American Hockey League coaches that are itching for that chance to come up. So, and if all else fails, maybe Johnny Gaudreau can coach for Colorado if he can't find a job as a player in Calgary because they won't pay him any money. I'm kind of surprised at it because honestly, Johnny Gaudreau is a player that he's one of the most exciting guys in the league, if not the most exciting player in the league. Calgary has to get it done. They can't afford not to. Anyways, that's my feelings on that. It's still cool enough for me to wear a jersey right now, so yay. I haven't shaved because it's my holiday. I'm going to shave today, I promise. I'm not going to get all Grizzly Adams here. I'm watching some Olympics. Side note, the revenues for the first day that I put up the video congratulating Penny Oleksiak, the first day revenues have shown up, $22. I made as much on that one video in one day, and it's a 4-minute video, as I make on all of my videos combined in a week and a half. So it gives me pause, but you can only go to that well so often, and it has to be spontaneous. The videos that have made me the most amount of money are my draft reaction, both the live draft reaction to what's going on and the draft lottery reaction, which actually kickstarted my channel. And then now the penny video is just gonna, make me a lot of money, which is good. Well, in the short term, because the Olympics are going to be over, and once the Olympics are over, nobody's going to give a shit. I'm watching right now because I got women's tennis on, and Hingis. I had no idea Martina Hingis was playing for the gold medal in women's doubles tennis. Love Martina Hingis. Hingis was a tennis player who got to #1 in the world. She never used her looks really to get there, or she never got caught up in it, and she's very pretty. And she's now transitioned to where she coaches other girls. I see her at tournaments watching, and she's a coach. And now here she is in the finals of the doubles tournament. It's fantastic. Good for her. She came along during the Williams era, so people may forget that Hingis was for a brief time better than the Williams sisters. Didn't last. The Williams sisters are this crazy genetic thing that happened. I mean, especially Serena. I probably the most impressive female athlete I've ever seen is Serena Williams, and I hate to say it because I'm not a big Williams fan, but Hingis carved out her own niche there, and now hopefully she wins today. They're in the first set, so we'll see. I'm not going to do a reaction video if Hingis wins because she's not Canadian, she's Swiss. So, but the Canadians seem to be done with medals right now. There's an occasional here and there, but I don't know. I'm getting a feeling like all of our best moments have been lived out in the first week, and the second week's just gonna kind of be a petering out. I hope not, but it looks that way. So, anyways, thanks for watching. I'm very humbled with the fact that my channel has grown to the point that it has. That I have a video that can generate almost 10,000 views to this point, and that people support me. I've actually had a couple of messages asking about whether people can financially support the channel, help me out. There isn't a way to do that with Canadian YouTube channels, and I don't know if I would if I could. I think there's something disingenuous there. It's sort of like if I wanted to just get the views and money, I would just talk about the Leafs. That's all I'd talk about. And I would alienate people, and people would unsubscribe, and rightfully so. But I would gain a lot more subscribers, and I'd make a lot more money. But I think there's something to integrity. There's a John Oliver video on YouTube I can recommend to anybody, because this affects sports too, from last week on journalism and on the state of journalism. Because sports journalism has kind of fallen too. Not as much as news journalism. News journalism is in the shitter. It's just terrible. But it's close. And John Oliver puts his own spin on it. It's entertaining as always, but it's sobering too, because it's along the idea that partly with what I'm doing and with social media, that the news media has kind of become a lot less important, and now it's more focused on hits and generating revenue than it is on actually delivering the news. Because newspaper revenue has become basically nothing, and it's all digital, it's all online. There's more pressure on them to print, to post things about cute kittens and cute puppies than there is to post about corruption at City Hall. Because it doesn't generate hits, it doesn't generate revenue, therefore Why are we doing it? We're a business. We're here to make money. I never want to become that with this channel. Where if I get to the point where I've got 3, 4, 5,000 subscribers, somewhere in that region even, where I go, wow, every time I post a video about the Canucks, the Leafs, or the Canadians, I gain lots of views and subscribers. I'm going to just focus on those 3 teams. Fuck the rest of them. No. Because part of the reason that this channel became what it is because I got tired of watching Sportsnet TSN and being fed just the most popular teams. It drove me nuts. It drove me insane. Because it's like, I want to hear about other teams. I want to hear about other training camps and other things that are going on. So as we get into training camp season, I promise I will report on all 30 teams, and I'm not going to be influenced by what videos get the most hits, because I wouldn't have posted last night about hockey card collecting if I wanted hits. I would have posted something about the Leafs, because nobody collects hockey cards. If anything, that was more of a looking for anybody who still collects and how, and do you ever finish the set anymore? Because I don't think it happens. Anyways, Hingis is all fired up. She tends to get pretty emotional. She's already been arguing with the official, and they're losing this first set to the Russians. So Hingis can get pretty argumentative if she feels like the official's screwing her over. The one thing that was interesting, this is a rule too with volleyball. If there's a ball that they think is out, they have to stop playing and challenge it. So what happened was, it was during a rally, and at the end of the rally, she goes, I want to challenge this one over here, and the judge is like, you should have stopped playing. That is the stupidest rule I've ever heard of. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that in hockey? Oh, that's offside. I'm going to stop playing. And then the puck goes in the net, and it's like, what'd you do? I think that was offside. What? We got to do a replay on that, but I had to stop playing first. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I think that's an Olympic rule, and I think it's stupid. I thought it was stupid in the volleyball game I was watching. I was like, wait, what? What? When would a competitive player stop playing? Like, I would never do that. I would never do that in a pickup game, like between friends of mine. Although, when I play tennis with my friends, it normally consisted of yelling, out! No, it wasn't, fuck you. Yes, it was out. Fuck you, it was out. And then you come over and you point at some spot in the dirt and go, look, see, that's where the ball landed. No, it landed there, fuck you. No, it landed there. Now, that would be entertaining Olympic tennis. Just let them fight it out amongst themselves. Just take the judge and just pull them right out of there, because it's just as ridiculous as stop playing, and we'll look at the call if you stop playing first. When would that ever happen in when in baseball? When would that happen? No, they're calling that a home run. Yeah, well, it was a foul ball, so I'm just going to go into the dugout. What? That doesn't make any sense. I don't care. Like, I don't understand it. There are things with the Olympics they baffle me. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will more than likely post a 3rd video later. I'm not going to do 4 videos every day. I'm not. 3 is the max. Because 4 seems like I'm just flooding the internet with material that it doesn't want. So 3 will be the max. I'll come up with something today for that. I just wanted to talk about the Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, Jacob Trouba situation. And all this comes down to is something simple. There used to be bridge contracts. You did your 3-year entry level, you did your 2-year bridge contract, and at the end of that, then you got paid your cash. Now, players finish their entry level contract, and they're like, now you're paying me my cash, before it's even established what kind of player you've got. It's tough when they're in their early 20s. You don't know for sure whether they're a first line, second liner, or third liner. And you got to pay them all like first liners now. That's what happened. I remember it was Brian Burke that lamented that. I don't remember which contract it was, but he said they're killing bridge contracts. They're going to pay for this. And he was right. Well, thanks for watching.